For your Caesar, Cardiff City ride with me for your Caesar. For your Caesar, Cardiff City get litty for your Caesar. She want a diff boy, swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. She want a diff boy, swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. For your Caesar, grab a little something for your Caesar. We the geezers, swagger stone cold like freezers. She want a diff boy, she want Starvz, not Fitzroy. She want a diff boy, she want Starvz, not Fitzroy. She want a big man, says she want a man from...
Yes guys, good morning, welcome to Cardiff City World, welcome back to the channel. Well, that was not what we wanted to see, didn't go according to plan, I don't think. Port Vale 0, Cardiff City 0. It was a very flat, frustrating, underwhelming performance from the Bluebirds. Brian Barry Murphy's men huffed and puffed. We got to be honest, we were second best for the majority of that game, particularly in the first half and particularly on the physical side. We expected an inconsistency from such a young side, of course, but that's in those moments where you need the senior players to step up. Your captain, Callum Chambers, Chris Willock, Ryan Wintle, Joel Bagan. These are the guys that will need to step up when the younger players are struggling to find that consistency. And last night, I didn't think they really did. So today, we're going to break down 5 things that we learned from Vale Park. This isn't all doom and gloom, but there's also no point sugarcoating it and pretending that it was really good, because it wasn't. But let's get into it. Number 1, it's still a work in progress, right? First takeaway, and it's the most obvious one. This is Brian Barry Murphy in the early stages of his project. He's had one signing in, which is a goalkeeper. It's largely the same side that we had last year, minus a couple, with a couple of youngsters come into the side. So he's still building it. He's still putting the pieces together. He's still learning about these players. So, you know, the Cardiff City official match report actually said we grew into the game. And I think that's fair. We had a couple of half chances in the second half. Will Fish on as a sub almost had one. You had David Turnbull free kick, Kian Ashford over from outside the box. But they were very much half chances. They weren't, you know, cleared off the line, hit the bar, etc. There was some nice link-up play. I thought Turnbull did decent. But look, those moments were just that, moments. The rest of the time, we were disjointed. The passing patterns and the interchanges that we saw Saturday against Peterborough, they just weren't there, certainly consistently. And the pressing was practically non-existent. Too passive in the defensive transitions, too slow moving the ball. Port Vale had much more control than we'd have liked. And yes, of course, it's early days. We could do with a few new faces. But Brian Barry Murphy's style is possession heavy, rotation heavy. And that does take time to click. But if we want to push for promotion, we have to find that consistency. And we can't be waiting until Christmas for that to click. However, still unbeaten, 4 points. So, you know, take the positives. Number 2, Callum Chambers. Callum Chambers is the captain. He's got to improve on that performance. And I think if he's going to be the centre-back, he's got to improve on last year's performance. It is a big one. And I don't want to hate on the guy because it's his first league game after a suspension. It's the first league game of the season for him. He started alongside Dylan Lawler. Again, I thought, all right. I thought Dylan, again, struggled a little bit physically. And I think we're going to have to drip him in and out. Brian Barry Murphy's going to have to drip him in and out of games and give him the experience to let him adapt to the physicality. Will Fish came on second half, and the back line did definitely strengthen a little bit, like we were winning headers and all that stuff, but there wasn't enough leadership at the back from Callum Chambers. He looked a bit shaky, hesitant, and Port Vale had the first half momentum. Callum Chambers is the captain. He's going to play, so he's got to step it up. He's on big wages, particularly for League One. As I say, he's the captain of the football club. That comes with a certain responsibility. Not just about organising and setting the tone for the youngsters. He's got to lead and he's got to put in the performances. So that's important. Centre-back is going to be an issue, or is still an issue from last year. Lawler's a real talent, we know this, but he needs to be managed carefully, dripped in and out of games. Fish, he brings the physicality, he wins the ball in the air. And I just think, like, Dylan's going to be fine, but he's got to be in for a couple of games, out for a couple of games. You have to rotate it, even though you'd like to keep the same centre-backs at all times. And as I say, Will Fish came on. He was winning headers. He was getting the blocks in. He did give us that extra bit of physicality. But it does leave us with a bit of a situation, because you've got Fish is good at some things but struggles with others. Chambers, hopefully that was just a rusty start to the season. You've got Darland, who has struggled with physicality but looked good against Peterborough. Hasn't got a great deal of pace, but is good on the ball. But they don't all fit in. Like, Lawler, Fish, Chambers don't fit into 2 spots. Plus Darland, there's 2 spots, 4 players. It's got to be working out the best combination. But on the positive side, right, here's the thing. Callum Chambers should be the rock. He should be the calm head amongst the young centre-backs and just let them play their game. But right now, or certainly last night, he wasn't that. We need him to find his feet quickly. I think he will. I do think that it's fair to have anxiety or worries from last year when he played at centre-back. But I also think overall, over the season, he will grow into it and he'll be fine. But Brian Barry Murphy will have a big decision to make if he doesn't. Number 3. It's a bit of an obvious one, but physicality is still an issue. This has been a problem since last year, and the Sky Sports stats summed it up perfectly. Port Vale won 67.4 of the aerial duels to our 32.6. They committed 13 fouls, and we just committed 6. That's not controlled aggression from us. It's being out-muscled and being passive. In the first half especially, Port Vale bullied us. Outside of Yusuf Salic, very few of our players looked like they could hold their own physically. Joel Colwell started well, but faded after half-time. Ryan Wintle, I thought, struggled a little bit all night. He was a bit isolated, in fairness to him. Ruben Colwell was all right, had some neat touches, but didn't have that swagger or that influence that we have seen in pre-season and we saw on Saturday. He needs to be able to find that regularly. David Turnbull came on. He kept things tidy. I thought he did pretty well, but no one really truly stamped their authority on this game. And in League One, if you can't win your duels, you are in trouble. Now, personally, I would like a monster athlete brought into midfield. Someone who's mobile, aggressive, strong in the tackle, but decent enough on the ball to play the way we want. It's been an obvious gap for a while. And, yes, we saw Saturday the likes of Joel Colwell and other youngsters are going to bring us that athleticism and that mobility that we've been lacking. But they are going to be inconsistent for a while as they find their feet. And it's nights like that that make it impossible to ignore. Whether it be Darko Gyabi or whether it be someone else, I would like to see that profile of midfielder in this squad sooner than later. Number 4, let's have a little bit of a positive one. And this is a bit of a positive one. I thought Kian Ashford had a nice little cameo. Nothing spectacular, but it was decent. And I thought he looks way, way better, way more comfortable on the right-hand side. Playing off that wing, he has the option to cut in and link up, but he can also use his technical ability to feed the runners, and he will always battle. He does seem more comfortable receiving the ball on that right-hand side, and you see the technical ability he's got then. We saw in the second half when he combined with Turnbull on the edge of the box, he had drifted across into those little pockets, and then he puts the shot over the bar. But even then, you can see that physical side for him up against a big, strong wing back and an inside left centre back, both really physical in their challenges. It was tough for him. He is quite lightweight, and he's going to have to get in the gym, bulk up, get himself as strong physically as he can be. But I thought he had a much better game because defenders aren't going to give him a second to breathe in this league. So he's going to have to either bulk up or learn to use his body a bit smarter in that physical duel. But this is where that recruitment point comes in again. We desperately need a pacey out-and-out winger, someone who can stretch the defence. Ollie Tanner had a very off game yesterday. Worked really hard, by the way, but just an off game. We need someone who can come in and stretch the defence, carry the ball 25, 30 yards, run at the fullback, not get knocked off the ball in the process. Now, is Isaac Davis that guy? Well, I think he is, but I think they're concerned with his fitness and they're trying to manage it. It would help Ashford massively also if on the other side you've got a winger who's really stretching the game. We saw on Saturday where you had Tanner one side stretching the game and then Ashford had those little pockets of space. But I think if he's on the right and then you have on the left-hand side someone who's stretching the game, if he's got Capaccio going past him, that will really suit him, and that'll be a nice little tactical tweak to the system. Even if it's Tanner over on the left, I think that could work quite nicely. But yeah, some positives for Kian Ashford, but he wasn't amazing, but he was better from him. Number 5, the final ball. Jesus flipping Christ, the final ball was dire, and honestly, like, it was embarrassing. We actually did, in amongst what was a pretty passive performance, we did work some decent positions out wide. And in a game which is tight and is poor overall, you need to make those positions count. But our delivery was awful. Crosses overhit, passes, pullbacks overhit straight to the defender, set pieces going straight out of play, through balls mistimed. Sky's match coverage showed Port Vale creating the 2 best chances of the game. They had the goal ruled out for offside, they hit the crossbar, and I think Port Vale fans will describe them as unlucky. They were denied a win by a controversial offside goal, you could say. But that tells you everything. As Cardiff fans, could we argue that we deserved to get more than a point? Probably not. But for me, the final ball was what encapsulated the whole performance. It doesn't matter how good the build-up is. You won't score if the final ball is poor. Brian Barry Murphy has got to address this on the training ground, and maybe in a transfer market. You can coach patterns of play, you can coach pressing, but that final pass is about decision making under pressure. And right now, we are failing in that department. It has to improve. Brian Barry Murphy has a job to do, and he's got to do it. Now, again, I will say, we played poor, we got a point. I think, you just got to move on and learn the lessons from it. And I think Brian Barry Murphy will learn those lessons. I think maybe with hindsight, he goes in with slightly more physical midfield, maybe an Eli King in there or Turnbull in there, bit of experience to look after the ball. But even so, it was the pace that we moved the ball that was a problem, I thought. It was really slow and lethargic, taking so long to take throw-ins, foul throws, embarrassing stuff, really, when you think about it. And I don't want to be like too overly critical. It's one game, it's the second game of the season, just need to relax a bit. But let's wrap it up, let's wind it all together. It is early days, we've got a young squad, but I think what was most disappointing is we saw elements of last season's issues, the physicality, the centre-backs, the poor final balls, not being sharp enough in the final third, not as shooting as well. Like, we just keep seeming to want to pass it all the time when we get around the box. Those issues were there last year. I don't really want to see them again this year. Yes, Saturday was super encouraging, but yesterday was like the polar opposite and really worrying. So it is what it is. We move on. We move into the cup. I'm sure we'll see a bit of rotation, some youngsters, and we'll see if anyone stakes a claim for a starting spot. Because I do get the impression that if someone impresses on Tuesday, they might get in the squad, or they might even get in the starting lineup for the league game. So 4 points from 2 games is a decent start to the season. Far from perfect, but we take the positives, we move on. Positives in this game: Turnbull had a tidy cameo. Ashford showed some glimpses. Joel Bagan improved after a really ropey start. Clean sheet in Nathan Trott's debut. Fix the negatives. build on the positives, and as a fan base, we got to get behind the manager. As a squad, the players got to get behind the manager. But most crucially, the club, the board have got to back the manager. Give him some players, give him some reinforcements, give him the time, and hopefully we'll see the football that he's trying to implement regularly, consistently. Next up, Swindon Town in the League Cup, Tuesday night, Cardiff City Stadium. It is a big chance to bounce back. Brian Barry Murphy, I'm sure, will be keen to put on a show in front of his own fans. I'll see you there, and I'll see you back here over the weekend. Tonight, live on the channel, is Friday Night Live with Rob Boyle and Aaron Anderson. 1927 Club tomorrow. And of course, Sunday night, the breakdown. Part 1, Omar Risa, and then part 2 will be out Monday. I will probably drop a player ratings video over the weekend as well. There are a lot of work, editing-wise, and it's quite depressing, to be honest, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I will try. Guys, as always, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the opinions. I love that everybody on this channel, on this community, is able to have different opinions and see things differently without it resorting to like arguing and abuse and stuff. That's what sets this channel apart from other places and other communities and other football places, because we're adults, right? We can have different opinions without insulting each other, and we can criticize without overreacting. We can enjoy without overreacting. We try to be balanced. We try to be fair. Most of all, we just want Cardiff City to win. Keep the faith, my friends, and I will see you in a bit. Nice one.
Rascal Beats.
For your Caesar, Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.